everybody doing? It's Friday. Your boy's hitting the road. I thought I'd just share this with you guys. Why is this upside down? That is crazy. I will have to pull over and turn it right side up. Hold on a second. That is wild. You're flying in an airplane cockpit. We're going upside down. I'll turn it around here in a minute. That is wild that it's upside down. It looks pretty cool though. Anyways, it's Friday. I got a 4-day weekend or a 3.5-day weekend because I just got off work. And I thought I'd turn my GoPro on. And I don't know why it's upside down. That is wild. I'll have to check on that here in a second. Let me turn off here and see if there's a problem with this. Because it's not supposed to be broadcasting upside down. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing magnificent. Especially getting off of work early and hitting the road. But it doesn't look like it's broadcasting right. Let me look at it. Let me pull over here. Pull over here like I'm the mailman. That is wild. I don't know why it's upside down. And it's still moving. Why is this thing upside down? Is that better? Let's see if being sideways like this would be better. That's wild that it's upside down. I'll get it right here in a minute. I don't know why it's just acting crazy like that. See it there. Let me put the screw in and we'll get back on the road. That view. We're headed east on I-20. I don't like that view. I don't know why I was broadcasting it upside down. You can see it now, right? Let me see if I can find a stable place to put this where it won't be broadcasting upside down. I guess I can hold it. I don't know. I have this clip, but if I turn it upside down like this, like I normally have it, it broadcasts upside down. That is crazy. I wonder if it has like a way that I can broadcast it without it going upside down. Because this clip won't clip onto certain things, you know what I mean? Like, not like I could clip it onto something, because this thing is on the underside of it. So I don't know. I can just put it on this little holder, and I guess I'll hold it as I drive. Which is really weird, because when I'm dashing, I don't have a problem with it. Okay, y'all can see it now, right? Yeah, y'all were upside down for a minute. So I'm not going to be able to read the chat, so y'all bear with me, and thank you for joining me today. Like I said, I just got off work, and I'm hitting the open road. We're going eastbound on I-20 in Texas. As you can see, the sign up ahead, the 20 East. We're heading to Dallas-Fort Worth, which is probably about a 3-hour trip. It's supposed to be some rain coming down. I don't know how accurate the weather is, but you know, it is what it is. I know this thing has a lag. How are y'all doing today? Y'all doing okay? Y'all enjoying your Friday? I really need to get like I got a stand for this, but I don't have a mount for it. Like, I can't mount it. It's really weird, because on that clip, it's upside down. I just thought of something. Let me pull over again. No, I'm not in any hurry. I just thought of something. And there goes my phone. I just thought of something. How about putting the clip, instead of doing it the other way, why don't I just put the clip upside down? Check out that bus right there. Y'all check this out while I'm messing with this clip. Okay, if I put this upside down like this, then it will be right side up. But it'll also be in my way of the steering wheel. Hold on. Is there any way that I can put this? Y'all have any suggestions where I can mount this clip? Oh, you're heading to town? I understand that. Like, if I mount this clip, see, because I'm going to show y'all, because the clip is like this. I did have it mounted like that, but if I mount it like this, it's going to be in the way of the steering wheel, and I can't push it forward enough for the steering wheel. Hold on, maybe if I drop the steering wheel? We're brainstorming here, right? We're brainstorming. Let me drop the steering wheel I put this right here. I'm having all kinds of difficulties. All this for a stream. Is that not crazy? That's not working either. I tried doing it on the freaking vents, but that didn't work either. So I guess I'm gonna have to hold it for a while. Oh well, I'll get tired of it or we'll lose internet service, one or the other. Well, here we go. That kind of is a little depressing that I couldn't keep it like I do when I do a regular video. I wonder if there's some preferences on here that make it go upside down, whatever. I'll be right back. Let me look at the app, see if I can turn it. I'm rolling down the road, lowered my steering wheel, ready to go. Ready to go. We're following the United Pot Smoker vehicle as it turns off. Way to go, Gage, way to go. Y'all will never guess what I just did. I dumped the whole thing of Celsius in my cup holder. Check it out. Oh well, it's Friday the 13th. Should I expect anything different? Hope you guys are having a good Friday the 13th. I grew up in this little town right here. It's called Coahoma. Population 949. We were 3A for the longest time, then we dropped down to 2A. And I think they're back up to 3A now. But there was literally nothing to do in this town. Nothing. But drink and raise hell. You know, so you weren't raising hell, you weren't really doing much. And I used to not drink, but then, you know, I started drinking, so drinking and raising hell kind of went hand in hand. You know those small towns that have nothing to them but like a convenience store and I don't know where you're watching from? If you've ever heard of a Dairy Queen, that's all this town has, in the post office. So it doesn't have a lot of different things to be at your disposal. We didn't even have, the county was dry over here forever, so it didn't even sell beer or wine. It's probably been about 5 years now that they allowed beer and wine to be sold in the city limits, which never made sense to me why they wouldn't allow it anyway, because, you know, you're risking your life driving 10 miles to get alcohol. Why not just make it legal where you don't have to drive that far and it's right there, you know? That was my rationale back then. I don't know what your thoughts are on alcohol and wine and all that being legal or illegal. You just let me know. I don't know what y'all think about that, but to me, as long as you drink responsibly, I don't have a problem with people drinking. Heck, even those, you see this truck right here? There is nobody in that truck. It is self-driven. Check it out. Well, there is somebody, but that is one of those trucks that it drives itself, because they have those little flasher things, and I hear that there are drivers in them just to make sure that they don't malfunction, but eventually they're not going to have any drivers in these trucks, which I think is wild, because, you know, what if the truck breaks down? What if, you know, it hit something? What if it bad weather and, you know, the truck, you know, has some kind of emergency going on? They're trying to replace us for some reason. I don't get it. All these people in the world, and they're trying to replace us with technology. What do y'all think about that? Do y'all agree with that, or you disagree with that? Let me know what you think, because I disagree. I disagree with them trying to replace humans in so many industries, because especially truck driving, I mean, I could see the local routes, but the long haul, I don't see how making it a driverless truck, how it could be more beneficial to the trucking industry, unless they want to say that, you know, the truck can drive from here to there. But here's the big question: how do they fill up these trucks? How, and if they're electric or whatever, how do they get them filled up with whatever fuel source they need in order to make it to their destinations? How does that happen? Can y'all answer me that? Anybody have a thought on that? Because I don't know. I just hate the fact that I live in a world where technology is so important that they feel that they got to phase out humanity in order to make it faster and more streamlined. Because life doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You know, it really doesn't. We need human beings. Gosh, now I have a nice little lake in my folder. We need human beings to be able to function in this world. We need mechanics to work on the trucks. I mean, I believe the technology is only as good as the people programming it. What happens when computers go out or they malfunction or whatever, then it costs you time, energy, and money. I don't know. I'm not against, I'm not for driverless trucks, you know. I don't know what y'all think about that. Because, I believe that, you know, every driver that you take out of a truck, you're taking someone's career, and essentially you're taking their paycheck. You're taking that money from their families. You're taking that money from to them, whatever. Like I said, the short hauls, I don't think there's a problem with that. But them long hauls, I think that's an issue. If you're watching this and you're in chat, let me know what you think. I'll watch it later on. If you watch this on replay, let me know what you think. Because I know a lot of truckers. I have friends that are truckers, have been ex-truckers, whatever, and they're not for it. They don't believe in, the need for a truck to be able to drive itself. The same thing with taxis and Ubers and stuff like that. Do you trust the vehicle to come pick you up and drop you off in a big city with no driver? All you have is a screen, and you're depending on this thing to get you there and get you there safely without wrecking. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. The verdict's still out for me. I really don't know how I feel about that. I enjoy driving myself, and I enjoy there being somebody in an Uber that I can semi-trust. Because you can't trust Ubers anymore, or Lyft drivers, or anything like that. The world is a wild and crazy place, especially in the bigger cities. It's not like it used to be. I don't think we could really ever trust anybody. We were just more trusting. I believe that we had more ability to be trusting than we are now. I guess because we watch too much true crime, or there's always something on social media or in the news that is detrimental. And after a while, it chips away at your moral fiber, which it makes you doubt humanity. You know what I mean? I bet you are like 12 can talk and talk and talk and talk. You got that right. And in real life, I'm not much of a talker, believe it or not. If I know you well, I do talk and talk and talk and talk. But I'm doing a live stream. What kind of live podcast would it be if I wasn't talking? That would be weird. Be like, oh, he's just showing us the road. How boring. Or you might think, how boring, he's just talking while he's filming the road. Whatever your thoughts are, I don't know. I hope you're enjoying this. Because, like I always say when I do these, it gets you out of the monotony of being behind a desk, and you actually get to see different things, even if it is the open road. People are driving slow for whatever freaking reason today. Do y'all have any Valentine's Day plans? Let me know in the chat what kind of Valentine's Day plans y'all have. Anybody have any anniversaries coming up on Valentine's Day? Because, a lot of people have chosen that day to get married on. I know I have an aunt that got married on February 14th. And I don't know, it was symbolic to her. But I always thought, wow, that's a heck of a gamble you're choosing right there to get married. Because if it ever goes wrong, you're going to hate that holiday. You're going to hate it with a passion. But as far as I know, I think she's still married. I don't know, happily ever after. I don't know if it is, but I know she is still married. She moved away and never really kept in touch. Isn't that wild how some people do that? You have some family members that move away and you never talk to them ever so often, you know what I mean? Let me see what y'all are saying. looks familiar. Were you a trucker, Andy? Did you ever go down I-20 in Texas? If you did, then it probably would look familiar to you. It looked kind of dark on the screen. It is overcast though. You see over there on the right hand side that oil derrick over there pumping. That's what a lot of people from Texas believe, that that's what Texas is all about. Is oil derricks, flat land, and nothing else. Well, here in this side of the state, it pretty much is. But, you know, other areas, there are trees. Once you get to a certain point of Texas going east, then you start to see trees. You start to see lakes and water and all that wonderful stuff. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. We're in the barren areas of West Texas, heading east on 20. I wonder if I'm pinging off that cell tower over there, or if I'm pinging off another one that's like miles and miles away. Y'all see that cell tower? It's the funny crap that you think about, or that I think about these days, that I never used to think about when I drove. I never used to think about cell phone tower pings. I used to never think about cameras, you know, videotaping me as I'm driving by. None of that stuff. Then you follow certain cases and all that stuff seems to be informative on how they catch the perpetrators, and you start to realize, hey, you know what? If that's happening with them, that's happening with me. I don't know how y'all feel about that. How do you feel about being tracked all day long? Are y'all okay with that? Are y'all okay with video cameras and everything tracking your every move? Are y'all alright with that? Like, I don't know if they're, I mean, I bet one day they're gonna put video cameras on the interstate. Hell, they could be, for all I know. You know, there's plenty of places to mount them. But I know in the cities, you're being watched everywhere. Every traffic light, every freaking ATM, every business. You're showing up on somebody's video stream. I mean, there's good to it. I don't know how it would be unhealthy. I worked in a prison, so that came across at the time when Big Brother was really, you know, the camera stuff really hit hard. You know, there was a camera everywhere. And I was on camera all over that prison, so I got used to it. And, you know, I don't even think about a camera watching me now. I just assume that there is a camera watching, you know? But I wonder why there's not more cameras on the interstate. I wonder if they're eventually going to put facial recognition scanners as people drive by. You can, you know, the scanner's going to scan you. And if you're wanted or something, it's going to relay that information to the nearest county department, or the, you know, as we have them here, we have troopers. They're called DPS troopers, and is it going to relay that information to them, where they will be able to pull you over and get somebody that could be wanted off these interstates. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I foresee coming down the pipe, because technology is slowly taking our freedom, I believe. I believe that wholeheartedly. For all the good things that it does, there are cons, in my opinion, that, you know, for every good thing it does, there's something that we're having to give up in order for that to be implemented. I mean, because They already have license plate readers. So where did that information go? If your license plate is red and you're a wanted person, does it get sent to the local authorities? Or do they, kind of like in the Kohberger case, his license plate was red in Colorado and they instantly knew it. And that is wild that they would know something like that almost in real time. If it's happening, they'd be very upset about it because they would feel like their freedom is being infringed on, even if all you're doing is driving down an interstate. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying or if you disagree with what I'm saying. Like I said, I can't see the chat right now. I did glance and notice there are some people chatting, so thank you so much for being here. And I will look at the chat when I get to a stopping point. I will respond. But thank you so much for being here and commenting in the chat. I'm really just asking some questions because I always think of certain things when I'm driving, and these are some of the thoughts that I'm having. Is like, I wonder what the chat feels about certain things like this. I mean, would you be okay with facial recognition cameras being placed on the interstate to potentially catch individuals that are either breaking the law or, let's say they're during a nationwide manhunt? About facial recognition cameras in airports where you have to go through a scanner before you get on a plane. You think that'll ever happen? Let me know what you think. Yeah, this is a desolate area. You're right. You're fine with it? Good to see you, Cash. Long time no see, buddy. I mean, can you imagine, before you board the plane, they scan your face to make sure, or before you enter the airport, they scan you at the gate to make sure that you're not on a terrorist watch list or anything like that. But where will it end? You know what I mean? Like, where will it end? Will they scan you at schools? Will they scan you at universities? I mean, I already feel schools are really ran like a prison most of the time. Some of the stories that I hear, I'm like, man, I am so glad I am not in an American high school this day and age. I understand, behaviors are out of control, but man, the more you treat a person like a criminal, the more they're going to act like a criminal. And that is just common knowledge. But if they already have that criminal mind and you just try to change it by locking them down, locking the doors and all this other stuff, for the wrong people, it's going to bring all that out and make it worse to the others. And I don't know, there's a prison off to the right there. That is one of our state prisons. See how fancy they look? They don't look like the prisons of old with the gun towers and everything else. This one is called the John Wallace Unit, Dick Ware Unit. There it is. I think that's a minimum security prison, but it's still a state prison nonetheless. There for a while, prisons were big business in the state of Texas. They were going up daily. But over time, private businesses have taken them over, or they've closed them down, you know. So it's no longer, you know, big business to shuffle people in and out of prison. A lot of times they want to rehabilitate now because it costs more money to house you than it does to have you on probation or parole. Because when you're on probation or parole, you're actively paying for your freedom on a monthly charge. You know what I mean? Like probation fees. You have probation fees when you're on probation. You have parole fees when you're on parole. You know, even though granted it might be $12, $13 a month, but man, if you're struggling to live, that $13 a month could figure into your freedom. I don't know about you, but that would be kind of worrisome to me. This is another small town on I-20. But that's how they did it. Because almost every town along this little area is at least 30 minutes apart. And they all have truck stops, you know, alongside the highway. I saw some people in the chat say just another day, get on your hubby and tell him to take you out somewhere. You take him out. Even if you don't have much money, go on a picnic or something. Pack some sandwiches. Go do the old school thing. It's just not another day. It's to celebrate, you know, some kind of commitment and love and all that good stuff. Me, myself, I don't have a Valentine this year. So I'm going to hang out with friends and we're going to go out to eat. You know, do all the cool stuff in a crowd, you know. I'm going to see some friends that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm excited to do that. I'm going to see a guest that has been on the panel before. I don't know if y'all remember Carla, but she lives in the DFW area, so we're going to go to lunch on Sunday if everything holds true. So, you know, just gonna unwind. It's been a stressful week. Stressful week. I got to go to court yesterday, like I was telling y'all last night on the live. Spent a couple of hours in court, you know, having detention hearings on some juveniles that were not following their deferred or their conditions of probation. And when they do that, we got to take them into custody because they are a harm to themselves or a harm to the community, which is unfortunate because, you know, most of the time these individuals don't have adequate supervision, so it's hard to sit there and watch them get taken off and handcuffed and leg ironed, but you know it's for the best. You're hoping that that's enough to open their eyes to stop breaking the law. Because for whatever reason, people aren't scared to break the law anymore, you know? They're not scared to shoot somebody. It's just tragic. So yeah, that's what my day consisted of yesterday. And today was paperwork day. And, you know, it's just a light day. And since I have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays that I do as well, I do a life skills class and I do a decision making class, which I have individuals that are on probation attend those classes to try to teach them different coping skills when it comes to making better decisions in life. And that's not easy. Programming from from these homes where some of these homes don't have any supervision, or they have mild supervision where the child or the juvenile is able to run amok. They don't know where the kid is. They don't know what time the kid comes home. They don't know even if the kid ended up at home. Most of the time it's like we get these phone calls, well, my kid ran away. Okay, why'd your kid run away? Well, they ran away because they don't like the rules or guidelines of the house. Well, those things start very early on, and y'all know that, right? But there's some families that don't believe in rules. They don't believe in guidelines. They don't believe in, the kid being reprimanded or having consequences for not doing what they're supposed to do. And there are some good parents. I'm not trying to talk like every parent is bad. There are some good parents, and then there's some parents that take it to the extreme, and you have the same type behaviors. Child do anything they so it's a very maintained working your relationship with your spouse or your significant other. You're trying to be a parent to a lot of times. The world is tough. You do the best you can, but after a while, if you don't teach these kids young, they used to be team. The gap is teach them well. It's unfortunate how the world takes over and starts to raise your kids in schools with either good friends or these friends that influence them because your kids don't, because it's never been. We ask, have you ever seen somebody throw a temper tantrum in a convenience store and they're just told, I get it now. Some of these kids go ballistic. To be fair, but everything is a fine line. There's not any definite right or wrong. Everything is a same, and it's hard to get people back on course whenever they're older. They've already behavior for lies. If they've been lying all their life and they get with somebody and this person tried to teach them not to be a liar, chances are as much they're gonna lie. We all know these people where they don't know how to manage their finances, or they're habitually late for work or whatever, and you can't just instinctively expect that behavior to stop. I think that somebody's been doing that for so long, they're instantly going to stop doing those behaviors just because you're getting upset with them, or you're threatening them, or you're wanting to leave the marriage. Do yourself. That means setting boundaries. That means being open with communication and actually working past problems, because a lot of times people do not work past problems. We just talk problems out of existence for the moment, hoping that if we're talking about it long enough and you agree that, you know, you were wrong or I was wrong, and then we quit talking about it, then that's over with. Well, no, that's not a solution. All we did was merely bring down the flames. But what's going to happen is next time we have a disagreement or something comes up, that situation that we never put closure on, that's going to end up burning up the conversation and then some. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you agree with what I'm talking about, but I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's always best to put some closure on these disagreements. You know, I'm going to give you some relationship advice right now that I used to give couples whenever I did family therapy and stuff. I used to tell them, you know, if you have an issue that you've been discussing more than one day in a week, have yourself a shoebox or some kind of homemade box that you can drop this issue in, and pick a day, either Saturday or Sunday. If you're off, you're both off, and give it an hour to work through that problem to find a solution. Don't bring that problem into your everyday life, because it's going to pull you apart. You're going to get tired of talking about it, because especially if there's no resolution and one side or the other doesn't want to bend, then you're going to feel like they don't value your feelings or anything like that. So write that down in a post-it note, whatever the problem is, and give it an hour on a Saturday or Sunday, and hopefully that hour will resolve that situation. And then shred it, because hopefully that situation has some resolve that you guys have compromised on to make it a coping skill. And for those of you that are married or been in a relationship for a while, and you feel like your relationship is kind of stagnant and you don't know what to do anymore, and you feel like you just do the same thing over and over, this is where you have a date night box. So you're going to have two shoe boxes, okay? You're going to have a date night box where each of you throughout the week, you put in a random idea. Don't make it sexual. Don't make it watch TV. Don't make it anything that's in the house or garden or anything like that. It's something that you get out of the house and you do together. You know, go for a walk in the park. Go feed the ducks. Go out to dinner at this special place, or, you know, go take an art class or something. You both have suggestions, and you alternate weeks, and you fold them up where one of you reaches in the box and you grab the suggestion, and that's what you do. Even if you don't agree with it, even if you don't like to do it, that's called compromise. That's called doing it for your relationship and not being selfish, and just wanting to do the things that you want for yourself. Because we've gotten into that mode as humans that we're very self-centered, very self-serving. So think about these things that I'm talking about. You know, it's gonna boost your relationship morale. It's gonna break the monotony. You know, don't put in there sleep. Don't put in there a bubble bath or anything like that. Do something outside the house together. Go walk around downtown. Go to a flea market. Go to a trade day. Go do something as a couple, and reignite that spark and get to know your partner again. Because there's so many of us that are stuck on autopilot, we don't know who we're with anymore. You might just feel like the disciplinarian of the house. You might just feel like the breadwinner of the house. You might not feel like you're connected to your significant other anymore. And that's a quick way to get out of that monotony. There's two examples: to work through problems and also to have a date night. And keep adding to it. And hell, you can add a third box if you want. It could be a yearly vacation where it's a random vacation, so you don't sit there and stress out over having to do something that maybe you don't want to do. It's going to be something random. It's also letting go of control. You know, we become control freaks in relationships. We become individuals that we don't want to relinquish any kind of compromise. It's either our way or no way. And that, my friend, will kill a relationship quicker than anything else. You have to learn to compromise. You have to learn that it's not always about you. You know, relationships are hard. There's not one size fits all. There's not one solution fixes everything. Because both sides have to be able to wanna try, wanna do something different. If you only have one person willing, it's gonna be hard for the relationship to sustain itself. You know, many people spend a lot of money going to relationship counseling. And it's usually one of the people in the relationship that is fighting for the relationship harder than the other one, because the other one doesn't see that there's anything wrong with it. And I've had questions before. Is it okay to have guys not out? Is it okay for her to have girls not out? That's something that you need to set in your own personal relationship. Because do you trust your partner? I wouldn't do it if you were working back to getting to know who they are, rebuilding the relationship. I wouldn't do it right off the bat for either one. I wouldn't say, okay, go hang with your buddies. If I'm feeling neglected in the relationship, I'm not saying go out with your girlfriend. If I feel we already don't do anything together, I get it. We all work long hours. We work long days. But you know what? If it's worth having, it's worth fighting for. And there's a lot of people that don't fight for their stuff anymore. They just believe that if I throw this away, then I'll just go get a new one. And I hate to break it to you, but newer is not always better. It really isn't. Are y'all still here with me? Is there anybody still in chat? I know the chat's still going, so I think there is at least some people. I hope you're enjoying the conversation, because there's many times where we want to do something different in our relationship. We just don't know how. We don't know what, and we don't know how to be romantic anymore. Because we have been given a label that if we love somebody and we're showing, oh, he's love bombing you. Oh, he's being toxic. There's toxic masculinity going on there. Or he's a simp. Or any of these negative things, because there's actually one person trying to show this person that they care. There are 5 love languages, and if you don't know what they are, go read the book. Go language. What you know, there's a lot of people who personal space is a love language. I guess, in the relationship. Go check it out. Let me know what your love language is. Or if you already know what it is, type it in the chat. Because it's a real thing. It really is. If you really care about the person you've been with and you want to make the relationship continue to seem new, try something different. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you know what? Add some spice to it. You know, I read a book a while back and everybody was going crazy over this book. The book was titled, She's Just Not That Into You. Or He's Just Not That Into You. There are two versions. How to tell if a person is not into you. If you have issues reading people, you might go check out those books. Without a doubt, they will tell you what you're doing wrong. And you know, there's a lot of people that refuse to be wrong. You know, maybe they're the problem in the relationship, but they're always gaslighting you. So they become the problem. Whenever they're unable to want to even look at their issues. But it's not your job to call them out on their issues. It's your job to fix you. Because we all know what type of person we are. And if you don't, there's your cue right there on what to do first. Get to know who you are. Get to know what you're about, what you like. Who are you? What do you bring to the table? Social media has ruined a lot of people because we can put a filter over our pictures or our lenses, then it gives us an illusion of this is who we really are to the world, which is just a catfish. It is a catfish, in my opinion. You know, if you put a filter on something and then you show up to meet somebody and you look nothing like that, that's not fair, man. Well, I wanted to make sure if you were just into me about looks. No, you weren't. You were insecure about your looks. You were insecure about something, so you decided to put a filter on it so that people think that you're more attractive or equally attractive as all the filtered pictures that you see online. You know, in the 80s and 90s, I used to hear that there was airbrushing going on like the swimsuit model edition and stuff like that. Playboy, Penthouse, you know, all the magazines that you read when you're a young kid. You know, you don't realize that when you're young. You just think, man, this person is built phenomenal. They have no flaws. And most people, that's what is their downfall. They start off very early looking for the perfect physique or the perfect body that doesn't exist. Surely it does if they go to the gym and they work out, they eat right, they do all this stuff, but they still have flaws. There's nobody without flaws. But getting somebody to appreciate their flaws, now that is a horse of a different color. Because many people don't like who they are. They don't. They don't like who they are, what they are, where their place is in society, what they view themselves as being to the world. They don't like themselves. So those are some of the people that are quick to critique other people. Those are the people that don't have trust in other people because they don't trust themselves. And I told a kid this the other day. I said, you know, you can't tell me you trust yourself because you just said out loud that you don't trust anybody else. That's humanly impossible to not trust others and trust yourself. That's not possible. And what I mean by trusting yourself, I mean that you trust yourself, that you're good enough for you, that you are an honest person, that you are transparent, that you don't have to embellish in order to fit in, that you are who you say you are. That's trusting yourself. Therefore, if you bring that to the table and you're able to know that that's what you bring, you're not going to doubt everybody that crosses your path. Because you're going to acknowledge there are some decent people in the world. There really is. There's still some decent people. I don't run across them very often because of the line of work I do and the true crime podcast that I do, but there are some decent people in the world. And I'd like to think that I am a decent person to most people that I cross paths with in the world. Because right now, who you're listening to, that's who I am. Who you listen to on lives, that's who I am. I don't create a 12-gauge image just because I gave myself a different moniker than my first name. It is one and the same. Everywhere I go, there I am. So, you're listening to me right now. If you met me in a couple of hours, this would be who I would be. I'd probably be joking a lot more. I'd probably be having a little more fun, but I'm trying to maintain the road, and I'm already breaking the law by streaming as I'm driving. But I like to live outside the lines sometimes. I like to bring a little bit of excitement into my life. When your life is structured as mine is so much, there's times when you just do little things to give you a little bit of excitement, man. So when I started my channel, I was really nervous because I saw how other people got treated as creators. I mean, people were relentless. They went after their looks, they went after their family, they went after everything about this person. And I thought to myself, you know what? That's not what I want. And for as long as I've had my channel, I've fought hard to keep people out of the chats that really aren't about anything but critiquing my subs and critiquing me and what is broadcast from my channel. You don't have to agree with me. That's the lovely part of life, is you don't have to believe anything that comes out of my mouth. That's part of being an adult. You're able to decipher your own truth, your own reality, but you're still able to coexist with others without making it a battle, a war. Calling. So that's why I do different things on my channel now, because there for the longest time I was just doing very, very limited type lives, and it was bringing in the crowd. But now I have people in chats, and that's good enough for me. Let me see what Cash is saying, because he seems to be the only one chatting right now. You say, I believe it's on the individual. I got catfished. Yeah. Yeah, motive has a lot to do with it. It really does. What's your motive? What's your motive behind meeting somebody? You know what I mean? It's like, what's your motive? Are you really wanting to be with that person, or are you meeting them because they're meeting some particular payoff for you? And that's the sad part of life these days is sometimes people just want to be with you because they know that you have a steady stream of financial security, or that you have a vehicle, or that you have a home, or something that they don't have. But instead of getting that themselves, it's a lot easier to look at your flaws and then try to build you up with your flaws. It's like if you don't feel good about yourself or you're depressed, then they're going to tell you how awesome you are and how handsome you are, or all the above. This is part of the game. This is part of the game that happens in 2026. I have buddies that have lost relationships because while their significant other was at home or somewhere else, they were talking with my buddies with another. Maybe even kissing on the girl while she's talking to her guy. Nobody deserves that. If you can't be a decent person in life, coexist alone. Nobody tells you that you have to be a decent person. Just don't hurt people. And then you say, well, people let themselves be hurt. No. Those people that end up getting hurt are people that generally respect themselves, and they're probably giving you a chance because they give you a shot. Destroy them or try. I don't know if I'm talking to anybody in the chat or if I'm talking to anybody. I'm talking in general. This is not counseling over the internet. I'm not being a counselor right now. I'm basically just giving people some suggestive advice. If they want to try it, then they can try it. If not, the sun will still set and it may still rise tomorrow. Because that's what the world does. It beats on for another day. And this takes a lot of time off the driving because, sit there, talk and drive. Before you know it, you're at your destination. But the further I go, the colder it gets. I'm like, what the hell? It seemed like springtime. What happened to it? What happened to the sunshine? And those of you that are following me on a map, I'm almost to Abilene, Texas. So if you're looking on Google Maps, I'm at exit 258 on I-20. So you'll be able to see where I'm at. Sylvester Road, 259. So if you look up exit 259 Sylvester Road, I-20, you'll see exactly where I'm at. So there's another cell tower. And there's some blinking blue and red up ahead. I better get off the pedal a little bit. I'm going about 82. I need to chill. I think this is our highway trooper right here. That is indeed our state trooper vehicle. I don't know if you saw that individual, but he did not look happy. That's what I like having a camera in the vehicle though, because you can pick up random stuff that you don't see every day, you know what I mean? Of course I would pick the biggest dreary day of the year in order to be doing this. It gives no justice to the beauty of the area that I'm in. If there is any justice, you know what I mean? destination. They're probably about 176 because I'm not going to Dallas. So there's that, so don't feel like you have to give me a super chat or anything like that because I'm not monetized. So everything is free. I remember when I heard about that too, when people were giving super chats and all those things, and I'd be in chats. There'd people be giving $20 and $30, $10, $2, and I was like, why are they giving this person money? Why are they giving super chats? Why are they giving money to this person? Even when I was monetized, I got super chats from people. But I always felt weird after they gave me a super chat. It was like, I didn't do anything to earn that. What made you give me a super chat? I didn't feel like I was doing anything special to earn that super chat than what I'm doing right now when I'm not getting super chats. You know what I mean? Maybe I should have been a truck driver. One of my friends told me, he said, you got the temperament for it. You got the patience, you got the ability to drive long distances. I don't know. I think it would get boring after a while. Especially if you're in a cab all by yourself. Like if I had other people in the truck with me, I would be talking to them or joking with them or whatever. But imagine being in that truck with nobody but just you. I'm sure they're probably listening to lives or, whatever. But I think it'd be pretty boring. Especially those big trucks that they can't go over 65. I'd be like, bro. 'Cause I'm old enough to remember a time when a lot of roads were 55 miles an hour. That seemed like it took you days to get somewhere. Then I remember when it went up to 65 and 70 and 75. How we got a road called I-10 here in Texas. You can go 80 miles an hour on that thing. But without these truckers, man, our world as we know it would cease to exist. That big ass truck hauling one pane of glass. Look at that. Maybe he's not going very far, so it's not that big of a deal. I have nowhere to go. I'm boxed in. I'm boxed in right now. Like I said, everybody's driving slow, so I don't know what the deal is today. Have y'all ever ate at Arby's? If you have, I'm gonna recommend something, even though they do have the meats, you know, like the commercial says, and they do roast beef sandwiches and all that. They're really good. They have an awesome fish sandwich. I got a fish sandwich today for lunch. That thing was delicious. I don't know, next to McDonald's, I guess, and it sounds gross to get a fillet of fish, but I love those things. I love McDonald's fish sandwich, and Arby's has a good one too. And I've heard that Burger King has a good one. That's called the I don't know, something King. I was gonna say it's called the McFish. It's not called the McFish. It's called something King. Fish King or something like that. I don't know. Supposedly pretty good. But I ate at Arby's today. I had a fish sandwich, and that thing was pretty damn good. I don't know how it is in your country or in your state, but here, strip clubs have to be in the outer limits. And what made me think of that is because we're coming upon one off here on the right. Probably in about 5 miles, we're gonna come across a strip club. They can't be in the city limits anymore for whatever reason. If they are, they have to have certain things that they meet, certain guidelines. I mean, in the bigger cities, I'm sure, but these smaller areas, because there's a strip club right up ahead. Never been, but I've been through here enough that I've seen it. I can't imagine living next to the interstate. I did when I was growing up, and you heard the trucks all night long. I mean, you would hear traffic. But, you know, living next to a freeway or something like that, that'd be annoying, I would think. I would have went live on my phone, but I'm on my hotspot right now. I never use my hotspot, so I think I have unlimited or 500 gigs or something, and then it starts charging you or whatever. Whatever it is, I never use it. So I never go beyond that limit. So I thought, you know what the hell, I'm gonna use the hotspot. And look at the size of this truck stop. This thing called the Iron Horse Travel. This truck is annoying me. Cause that truck line right there is basically like a student driver. Werner is like a student driver of truckers. Them and Swift and Knight, I think they're all like low-level driving companies. At least that's what I've heard. I don't know if they are or not. I respect the truckers though, man. They have a hard job. People just say, well, they just sit in a truck all day. Bro, they do more than sit in a truck. They have deadlines they gotta meet. They gotta drive so many miles in one day. Can you imagine being in a truck going for 8 hours in a truck? I can barely do it behind a desk. I can't imagine doing it behind a truck. Going through cities, having to watch out from all these drivers who want to cut you off, want to ride your blind spot, kind of like that guy is up ahead with the trailer. He's riding that trucker's blind spot. I hate when people do that to my truck. It's like, bro, speed up and pass me or get behind me. But get the hell out of my blind spot. Because they're the first to honk their horn when you don't see them. They really are. I don't don't know what you think about that, but I am just giving opinion after opinion. I'm being opinionated today, aren't I? As my Celsius sloshes around the little cup holder swimming pool that I got going on there. I don't know how that Celsius is built. I didn't have to break that damn hard. I've never heard of this trucking line. Danny Herman. John 3:16, love. I've never heard of this trucking line. It is a windy day here in Texas. I think it's windy because it's blowing in the rain. Where I live, there's supposed to be hailstorm and stuff tonight. So I'm kind of glad that I'm not there because as you can tell, my windshield's already shattered. Gonna get that changed hopefully pretty soon. After the hail season, of course. I don't know if any of y'all drive trucks. Not trucks like semis. If you have trucks that you drive on, as a vehicle of your choice. I used to not want a truck. I used to be only in the cars. I was a Mitsubishi person for a long time. I loved the Eclipses. And then I bought this truck. And man, it was the best decision I ever made. I love this truck so much. And it's like 11 years old already. 11 years old. And I hear that Toyotas can go up to 300,000, up to 500,000 miles on their engines if you take care of them. So I'm hoping for that. Because I'm really not in the realm of having a car payment. I'm not ready for that. But I know PKC, she does ranching and stuff like that. So I don't know if you have a dually like that, or if you have a 250 or 350. Most people that have ranches and horses and stuff, they have either dualies or 350s, those big trucks that they can pull, horse trailers and stuff like that. My girlfriend's mom used to have a 350. The strip club's up ahead. You're not going to be able to see it very close up because I can't really zoom in as I'm driving, but it's right up ahead. You see the Bridgestone sign? It's coming right up ahead. It's right there, that building with the yellow sign that says Baby Dolls. That is the strip club. I don't know if it's totally nude or if it just topless. One thing I never understood, since I'm getting on the strip club kick right now, one thing I never understood is those states and cities, they didn't allow topless dancing, but they allowed bikini dancing. Like, who wants to go into a bar and watch somebody dance in a bikini? That has, there are people that do it. Now, I've been to strip clubs with people who wouldn't even look at the strippers. They wouldn't even look at them when they come to the table. They won't look at them on the stage. I'm like, they don't want a table dance, nothing. I'm like, man, I brought you here for a reason, bro. That is something nice to look at right there. But I never could really understand the bikini bars, I don't know about them. I felt really weird when I went into an all-nude strip club at first, but after a while you're just kind of like, it's almost like your brain is playing tricks on you. It's like, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? Anyways, I'll get off that. Look at that. Is that a welder on the back of that trailer right there? It says Predator 5000. Any of y'all? That's a hotshot driver. So that person drives materials and all kinds of stuff from place to place. Oil field companies usually call them up. They need a part or whatever. This dude goes and picks them up and goes and drops it out on site. So he's basically the DoorDash of the oil field. But they call them hotshot drivers, is my impression of what that is. I don't know if that's correct or not. If it's incorrect, then I apologize for spreading false information. There's a horse trailer up ahead that looks like a single horse trailer with the ability to carry 2 horses. I'm not a specialist by no means, but you see the bigger truck that's hauling it. Like my truck could haul that trailer, but it would be struggling a little bit, I bet. Or it might not be, I don't know. I've hauled RVs with my truck before, and they're way bigger than that and didn't have any problems, but I don't understand the ramification of needing a bigger truck. I don't know. Maybe somebody in chat can educate me on that. Do you necessarily need a bigger truck in order to haul a horse trailer or not? See, we're in Texas, y'all. You see a lot of trucks here, especially a lot of white trucks. So if you see a white truck and it's like a 350, chances are it's an oil field truck, and it's, you know, has a light on the back of it, and chances are it's an oil field truck. See those trucks over there, like that big looking truck? That's like a construction. There is a green car right there. Did y'all see that green vehicle? That was not a white vehicle right there. That is a green vehicle we just saw. I don't know what is with the Valentine's Day traffic, bro. They need to go ahead and expand I-20 to be a 3-lane highway. They really do. I am kind of hungry. That sign said, "Are you hungry yet?" Like it knows. Hell yeah, I'm starving. That fish sandwich didn't do damn thing for my appetite. I know this truck didn't pass me, so this is another one of those trucks that we saw a while ago, but it doesn't look like this one has those lights on it like the other one did. Remember the driverless truck that I was talking about? So this is a trucking company. It says not typical. I've never seen that kind of truck either. I am just seeing all kinds of different stuff today. Somebody was telling me that China has their own trucks over here on these highways. That China has their own trucks. I don't know what they're transporting. Temu goods? Wish? I don't know. I'm ready for prices to go down. That's what I'm ready for. I've had enough of these high-ass food prices. It's like the government forcing you to lose weight and shit. We got an obesity problem in America. Let's raise the food prices. That'll bring our health deficit down and everything. It'll make people get healthy. You think that really works? There's another hotshot driver. You think that really works? Let's make the food prices go higher. People will buy less food. They'll get more fit. They'll lose weight. The hospitals won't be as packed. The emergency rooms won't be as packed. Our health system will finally be able to stabilize after COVID. I don't know if that really works or not. Because there's a lot of people, it doesn't matter if you're charging $20 for a pound of hamburger meat, they're eventually going to pay it. And I did a live one day about 3D print. I just don't know anymore. You're really getting the real deal or not. Some of the chicken that we've eaten, I don't know. Sometimes it tastes chickens at. There are parts of the country that the chickens are being raised at. Because that's what I see in this area. A lot of RV farms. That's what our world is becoming. People can't afford to live in houses, so they're going to live in RV parks. Gone are the trailer parks. They can't even afford a trailer. They're living in an RV. I lived in an RV for a year. I'm going to tell you, I am too big of a person to be living in an RV. For real. I'd be better off living in this truck. That RV made me claustrophobic. It felt like every step I took, I was about to go through the floor. Didn't like it. I hated it. I mean, I'm sure it worked for short term, but after a year, I was ready to bounce. I was like, man, why did I ever get rid of my condo? There are just a lot of damn people on the road for a Friday at 3 o'clock, 3:53. There are just too many people on the road. What the hell is really going on? What is really going on? I need to take a moment to look at the chat while I got this slow ass semi in front of me. PKC says 3-4 place, I think. My dog liked the nature programs, just staring and listening. Yeah, I've been dog sitting before. My parent dog, and they did the same thing. They sat there and watched the dogs playing in the park and stuff. They were intrigued by that. What do y'all think about my opinionated views on life? You think I'm warped? Do you think I'm out there when it comes to my thoughts on a lot of different things? I've always wanted to ask the chat, but I was always kind of scared to. Because what if they say, nah, you're pretty normal? Or if they say, nah, you're thrown off, bro. I don't know why you would think that. But either way, I mean, it doesn't matter. Is that an Eclipse? Oh, that's a Jetta right there. You notice that line on that Jetta? That's distinctive, ain't it? Me and Jeff were talking about the Elantra the other day. He even sent me a video of an Elantra he found in, I guess his hometown or something, and it's in the snow, and you can definitely see the lines. You know, it's kind of dark. It's interesting, but anytime I talk about that case, it just, I don't know, I'm just over it. There's nothing new that you could show me that would make me want to stop, drop, and roll and get back on that case. Because, you know, I I believe it is where it's at. And people still posting. We still want the truth. Will we ever get the truth? Bro, the truth is in the pudding. He's in prison. That's the truth. This July is going to be a year, so nothing happens in a year. Nothing's going to happen in life for him. But, you know, I guess when time gets slow, it's always a good fallback. Not only for mainstream media, but for independent creators, you know? I just hate hearing about it. I mean, even when I'm on TikTok or I'm on Facebook, unless it's something new that I've never heard about, I just lose interest really quick. I don't even want to hear what people have to say about it. It's like I've gotten to the point where there's nothing you could say that makes what happened or what's going on in this man's case to be different, for the outcome to be different, you know? So that's why my ass is broadcasting my road trip, because this is the kind of life that I have these days. You either love it or hate it, you know? If you hate it, I'm sorry. I even thought about driving or flying to Phoenix, not Phoenix, but Tucson, and spend this 4 days, you know, being out there with mainstream media. But then I thought, for what? I do lives on the case and people hardly watch as is. I'll be damned if I'm going to waste my money to go stand alongside a road talking about something that 3 people are watching. You know what I mean? It would be rather frustrating. So I declined against it. Probably a good decision, because, you know, unless crime happens here in Texas or it happened during when I'm on vacation, I won't be on the spot. I'm hoping to have a team built up eventually so that I can have teams all over the country to broadcast live on my channel. I'm in the works of doing that with some other people, and that's why I'm rebranding my channel to be a different platform, because I don't know about you guys, but like I said the other night, I get tired of true crime. I really do. I don't know if y'all do or not. I mean, obviously there's still an audience for it. Otherwise people wouldn't still be streaming the same stream everybody else does, or talks about the same stuff everybody else does. It's like literally you can set your clock to what creator you want to watch. If you're a morning person, if you're an afternoon person, if you're an after work person, if you're a late night person, there's probably a creator out there for each and every one of you, and they're probably talking about the same case, so you'll definitely get the updates, you know? Well, I'm gonna sign off because my GoPro's a little warm, and that's, I don't know if it's supposed to do that. But thank y'all so much for hanging with me. Thank you so much for watching my channel, and I hope that, you know, will want to be in the chat and they'll be interested in what we talk about. You know what I mean? Until next time, my name is 12 Gauge, and this is 12 Gauge Investigative. Y'all be safe out there, and happy Halloween.